What up? What up? How's everybody doing? Welcome to Sports with Ray. This is episode 9. Glad everybody been rocking me. It's been a minute. Actually, just been a couple weeks. Just came by to just talk a little bit, basically. You know, it's kind of a dead period in sports, or not even if you want to call it dead, it's more redundant. Um, we'll get into that. It's about to be quick, fast, and hurry. It's your first time listening. Thank you for tuning in. Go ahead, click subscribe. Check me out on my social media handles, Ray Rob 97, REIROBB 97. That is Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. You can catch me on Facebook. My name is Raymond, REINN. Also, the Ray Rob Report podcast. I also have two podcasts. So you have this, which is Sports with Ray, just dealing with sports, and then the Ray Rob Report is just pretty much anything. A little bit more discussion. So thank you for rocking with me. So pretty much, I'm not sure if I'm the only one that's tired of the. You know what I noticed? I've noticed that until something happens, I have kind of stopped paying attention to stuff. Like as far as the basketball, as far as these requests, like for example, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant requested a trade. I think that was right before July 4th. It's almost August now. And I know that period right now. This is the first time that the NBA's really had some time off in the last couple of years. But I'm not saying there isn't any headway, any movement, but anytime, like, I've watched sports talk radio shows and, debate shows. They literally are regurgitating the same thing, thinking of, they're exhausting every different situation and scenario possible of what could happen, who it could go for, and with the rumors where KD was doing, the only thing that is done is almost made it seem that he's weak. The two teams that they focused on, I mean, of course, Phoenix is out the mix. I mean, you got Miami, but then it's like, well, Miami was the number 1 seed. So then if he goes to Miami, it's looked at a weakness because they were the number 1 seed. Even though nobody really picked them that they could win. I mean, because they didn't feel they had a number 1. That was the storyline after Phoenix. Because essentially it was just, they were going to ask for too much, and, Phoenix didn't want to give up D-Book. And then also with Indiana trying to sign DeAndre Ayton, and then Phoenix matching, and that took them out the picture. But I don't understand, and this is where I sound like an apology, but I don't care. I don't understand in the NBA, where is this, you have to suffer and then grind your way up to the top in order to get any kind of credit, when people are like, he started playing basketball in 2007 in the NBA. He's had multiple injuries. He's in like going to a 16th season and all that. Like, all right, man, one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to hold back. This is how I feel. Okay. Everybody was mad that he went to Golden State. Okay, he went to Golden State. Golden State, I say it over and over. Golden State failed. They won 73 games, became the first team to blow a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. And all everybody was speaking about is how Kevin blew a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals, and that Golden State won 73 games. Essentially nullifying, like, they don't even talk about that collapse. It's become an afterthought because of the ire of him going to Golden State. And then after a while, the media made it because the media made it to where he had to leave because it was, is he ever going to feel a part of this team? This is really Steph's team and this Kevin and Golden State. Like they did all that shit. They did all of that. And then he leaves, and then he has to go to get his own team in order to win. Then he goes to Brooklyn after he was forced to come back after he had a calf injury. Everybody was saying like he was weak because he was sitting down and this team needed him. I remember, I'm old enough to remember all that too. How the media was trying to hype him up, and then as he came back and how much of a hero. Like I remember that 3-week build-up when he was injured. And then they just swept and run like they, and then it's nobody's fault but and then it's the shit that they do, and everybody just rocks with it because of how they feel about somebody. Is why I get in disagreements with a lot of people. Like that doesn't even make sense. I mean, if you don't like him, I guess. I mean, but how does that doesn't make sense? And then he goes to Brooklyn. Okay, he was out the first season. Kyrie's often injured. Second season is they get James Harden, who quit on one team, and then his hamstring messed up. Kyrie was injured. They lost to the eventual champs. Okay, like Kyrie was credit to him. That's cool. Like I ain't, he balled out, but you're not giving him any passes. All right, cool. And then his third season, they was in first place. Just like, I don't care how LeBron was in first place in 2018. No, I'm sorry. I don't like to do it because it seems like I just like LeBron, but this is the only way I can compare because I'm a person that likes to keep everything even and across the board, and I don't feel like everything is even across the board. When the Lakers beat Golden State in 2018, they were like 20-12. They were like fourth in the West. That's what everybody continued to tell me. And then LeBron got injured. They got rebuilt. They never recovered, even though he went 0-30, and then they started to lose all the games after that. Just like last year, when they tried to get serious, that's when they really started losing because there was no continuity or whatever. And they just blame Russ. Just like they blame Lonzo and Ingram. It was Kuzma's fault. I'm not saying it's LeBron's fault, but I'm just saying they definitely got blamed. They all got shit. They got AD. Cool. AD wasn't anything, and now he won the title. AD needs to get healthy. Bottom line, Brooklyn was in first place, and with all that happening, with James in the shape, Kyrie wasn't even playing at the beginning of the season, and they were in first place. And then, Kyrie didn't want to get vaccinated. James got tired of him. James put his second team in consecutive years. I mean, people harp on him, but I don't know if they don't really care about James like that. I mean, you care about as far as him wanting to take his money. People say he's coming short in the playoffs, but they don't care enough. I mean, they mentioned it. Like if James was teamed up with Steph or LeBron or somebody else in the league that was white, and he quit twice, that would be the main story. Whether it was legit or whatever, like he quit twice. And it could be because of Kyrie. I'm not saying he's wrong, but quitting is quitting. And so he essentially then, he went to Brooklyn. This is the choices you make. Kyrie didn't want to get the vaccine. He missed the majority of the season. James got tired of Kyrie. He left. Ben didn't play. And then y'all talk about he should go back and he needs to make this right. He could. Anything is possible, but I just don't like with other players that are liked in those scenarios where the team, like they're, he's talking about the leadership, like, some of that, it is some leadership, accountability that needs to be going. I feel like he's somebody that he'll figure. It's like he thinks he'll figure it out. To me, and maybe I feel like I don't know. Maybe I feel like actually that he's the type of person that he probably talks to his teammates behind closed doors and on the mic, but he's never going to go on the mic to the media because he dislikes the media because he knows what the media does. and they're trying to tear his legacy, destroy his legacy, which is messed up. I mean, we as fans and we get to move on with our life. And I'm not saying he deserves any pity or anything, but it affect people's the media affects with the narrative that they put out because they have to feel about somebody. It can affect somebody's life and livelihood after they get. And lucky for him, he has a lot of good things that he has going on. But there's a lot of players to the lesser degree that maybe can't get that, luckily for a Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, they were able to get into the media space. But there's some players that are less fortunate. But good for them because they're opening doors for people to get into the space. But the media is really dangerous. It's really you can mess up people's lives. This is how you feel, a narrative that you carry. And so now KD, if he gets traded to Boston, the team that he lost to last year, just like Golden State was supposed to be the other favorite. Then if he went back to Golden State, it's him taking his tail end. Then this dumbass bus driver talk, which is the dumbest. The bus driver, I'll say it out. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That only just like Kobe couldn't win without Shaq. These are the same type of things that are made up, and people stick with them, and that sticks with somebody's legacy. So instead of most other people, when you judge them off basketball and their accolades, you judge a Kobe, a Durant off of these things, these labels that have been attached to it. So you can't even, as far as debate purposes, you can't even really start off with somebody if they don't really like them, or if that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. Their judgment is already skewed. It's skewed. And so it just irks me. I went off on a tangent. Main thing is, it doesn't matter where he goes. If he goes, he would need to basically stay in Brooklyn and create a miracle. Even though people have literally, they have said things about James Harden. They said things about Kyrie as far as the disdain, and everybody has dumped on Ben Simmons, including myself. But it's almost like it's separated because he wants to leave now. And then people say he don't want to stick it out. Why would you? Life's not fair. When you are in a position where you can dictate the majority of the time, you can do what you want to do. Other people won't ever get to understand. Most people don't understand that because they can't dictate what they want to do. They do what they need to do or have to. So you acknowledge the workplace is terrible. And if it's reconcilable, then okay, stay. But if not, leave. He got 3 or 4 more years for the rest of his life to play basketball at his level. And y'all want him to, I don't even know, it's almost like y'all want him to suffer just to show he's not as good as y'all feel he is. So, but either way, there's no new news if he's going anywhere. He may be here at the draft packages, and then Boston, you're playing a dangerous game. But now you got Jalen upset. They just got on the same page, and I feel like Jalen needs to go to Atlanta. He needs to go back home. That's what Atlanta needs. DeAndre Hunter almost would be better. You can't do it. But if you could trade DeJounte Murray for Jaylen Brown and DeAndre Hunter, that would be a great trade. That's what Atlanta needs. And really, Boston, DeJounte Murray would have been perfect. Marcus Smart, he's a heart and soul, but you need a distributor. You don't have a distributor. So you talk about heart and soul, but you're also talking about it's a glaring weakness. Now Malcolm can come and play alongside with him, but then somebody's going to get left out of the rotation. Is it going to be either Al? It may be Al, but he's certain you need him. It may be Smart. I mean, because if Jalen and you have essentially a Smart that starts. Jalen at the 2, Tatum at the 3, Horford at the 4, Williams at the Robert Williams at the 5. I mean, he may sit out sometime, but when he's healthy, he's really not going to sit out because he makes their defense different. They are so. Then that leaves you with Williams, and you got Gallinari. Like it's going to be real interesting. Like they could. We'll see. I mean, and then you also have is Kyrie move? Is Donovan Mitchell going to move? I mean, these stories have been playing back to back with no results, but they'll put something up as if something's going to happen. And now we're a couple weeks in. I've never seen it. And really, things can't really go until KD gets traded, if he wants to get traded. So we're in limbo. That's what's making it a dead season. I mean, I watched a little bit of baseball. It's cool. I mean, Aaron Judge about to become a free agent because I don't know, the Yankees are playing a dangerous game. You don't want to, and then he's having an MVP season. So what y'all want me to say? This is going on. I mean, we are, not to mention, you have had the college football media days from the SEC to the ACC. The Big Ten is this week. Of course, I'm an O State fan. So, I'm interested to see Ryan Day, Jackson, and CJ Stroud, and Ronnie Hickman speak. Ohio State, they just need to stay healthy, stay relative, stay the course, and improve on that. They're not going to lose. They're not. I see them versus Alabama in the national championship, round 3. And so, there's a lot of things that can happen during it. That's the great thing about college football. Anything can happen. Of course, people they felt a certain way about USC and UCLA coming to the Big Ten. As far as Oklahoma, Texas going to the Big 12, I get it. They're both good moves. For the South, it's huge for Texas and Oklahoma to go to the Big 12. Go to the SEC, go from the Big 12 to the SEC, excuse me. That's huge in the South. It makes all the sense in the world. But it's no way, especially how they are in football, even though, they're both, Lincoln went to USC. Oklahoma is great. History and all that, USC has history too, is LA. So no way you could tell. One move was regional. Another move was national. So now everybody keeps saying, well, nobody in the elite cares about the Big Ten, but they still have markets there. They got the markets in DC, New York, the Midwest, and LA. Come on, man. You got football history with USC, you got basketball history with UCLA, and LA. That doesn't even. I'm in Atlanta, so I get it, but it doesn't even make sense. There's no comparison. The best case scenario would have been in Oklahoma and Texas were doing great, and then we could have a conversation. But they're not. They're not doing great. They're just being all right. Oklahoma's been doing good, but we'll see how they do with the new coach, Max Venerable, the old defensive coordinator on Clemson. So we'll see how they do, but come on, man. Start talking about it. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? So we'll see what happens. More to come on that. There's nothing but some back and forth going on. Chitter chatter, NIL, Jimbo, and They ain't mad at each other no more until that game comes with the icy handshake, one of those, just walk past, or they might even do this. So, whatever. You got the NFL camp set open up. Um, my team is the Chicago Bears. We're doing a rebuild. I always feel like you don't always have to do. You don't have to do a rebuild. Like Jacksonville had to do a rebuild. Chicago, I feel like you could have done a retool. But if you want to build, I mean, sometimes people want to build their own projects, so I understand. But sometimes you don't have to start from the bottom of the basement. You can start on the second and third stair. I mean, I always feel like the talent in the NFL, even though the disparity is not a wide gap to me. Most games are close. If teams play hard, it's usually young, inexperienced teams. They make the mistakes to get the majority of the penalties at the wrong time. And in the fourth quarter or midway through the third, the better team asserts their dominance, and then they'll be the ones that end up picking up the victories. But the teams that are young and up and coming, usually towards the end of the season, they're the ones that you don't want to play because they're the ones that's still playing hard. Some teams that are trying to rest and do whatever, and then you can see them coming. Me with the Bears, I hope Justin is put in the position to succeed or at least show improvement. You know, if he's who I feel he is, even though it's stacked against him, you'll be able to see enough to be like, oh, okay, he just needs some help. I mean, when you look at the other teams that all have second-year quarterbacks that got drafted with him, maybe sides. Well, not even New England. New England got Devontae Parker. Like, I understand you want to get rid of Khalil Mack. I said they were going to trade Khalil Mack. I knew it. I knew Akeem Hicks was gone. I knew Trevathan was gone. Goldman, Bilal. But you still could have got some people that could still hold the fort down. I mean, maybe they'll jail. It's like it's what if or if not. But if he looks bad, then are we trying to get CJ Stroud or something like that next year? I don't know. I feel like Zach Wilson got toys. He got help. Trevor Lawrence got help. Trey Lance has been put in a position where help is already there. An established identity is there. Mac Jones has excellent tutorage, excellent tutor, and Bill Belichick. And the system in place, and he's on the second year, and he got a little bit better job. And it's like justice, like you hope to catch lightning in the bottle, but when you hope, it doesn't always work out like that. So I'm gonna hope for the best. I hope they don't ruin it. You can be as confident as you want. Just gotta, sometimes it just starts off. It depends because you start off with a good 2 or 3-0 or playing well. Things change like that. I mean, they're predicted to finish last by a lot of people, not only in the division but in the league. So, I mean, you've seen predictions like that, and then in the NFL, they turn things around. So, we'll hope for the best. We'll see how it goes. So, like I said, I just wanted to jump on here, say a little bit. Once again, I appreciate everybody for rocking with me. Once again, subscribe with Sports with Ray, Ray Rob YouTube page. Once again, my handles are Ray Rob, REI, ROBB97 on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. You can find the Ray Rob podcast on Facebook. And also, if I spell my name, Raymond, REIMEN. And then until then, we'll get up another time. Thanks.